Also, just a little thing that all the people we've prayed for on the streets, not everyone's been healed. We've seen a lot that have been healed. Not everyone's been healed, but one thing that we've never seen is we've never seen anything bad happen as a result of praying for people. If there's going to be someone who doesn't want you to pray for them, they'll say that from the start. But of the people we've prayed for on the streets, and it's quite a lot, never seen anything bad happen at all. Which is just really encouraging, if you're trying to start out. It's always been good things happen, and sometimes it's even surprising to us, like when people have been healed, broken bones have been healed, all sorts of stuff. There's one day that was just a wonderful day for treasure. We were doing a treasure hunt. This was on the North Shore. It was actually Breakthrough Conference 2008. I was leading one of the treasure hunt teams. It was an interesting team to start with. We had a lady, she was about 38. I had a young lad on the team, he was 12 years old, and two other girls who weren't even saved. And that was our team. There was the five of us, and that was our treasure hunt team. So basically for a treasure hunt, we would pray and ask God to give us some pictures, words of knowledge, things, clues to go out and look for, and that became our treasure. And we'd find when you do treasure hunts, you'll get people's names, places, different types of injuries. Anyway, so we got our lists and we went out. A 12-year-old boy, a 38-year-old lady, and two girls who weren't even saved, and myself, and I was the only one who'd ever been on a treasure hunt either. So I thought, mate, we better pray for each other in the car, just so we can warm up. But so we're praying for each other in the car, and we started to head out. And just as we were we went into Westfield shopping mall. Just as we were going in, the lady that was with us, she was talking about she had a shoulder problem that always clicked, and so I put my hand on it. I didn't pray. I just put my hand on it for a couple of seconds, and I was like, "How about now?" And then she's like, "Huh?" It wouldn't click anymore. Just the clicking in her shoulder just stopped, and so we were like, "Wow, that's cool." Like, God's moving today. We'd barely even started, and He already just done a great healing. Like, clicking had stopped, and one night before we went out on outreach, I felt the Holy Spirit just really say to me, "Party tricks." I was like, "What's a party trick?" And He said, "A party trick. Here's what a party trick is, Ben. You can just kind of add this to your evangelism toolkit. You ask someone if they have an injury or something that, or you can just ask someone, 'Hey, would you like to see a party trick?' And they say, 'Oh, maybe,' or they just say, 'Hey, get away from me, you weirdo.' But if they say yes, and you say, 'Okay, well, to show you, or you need to have some type of injury or pain or something,' and if they say yes, what you do is you place your hands on them for a moment, don't say anything, and then take your hand off, and and they'll get healed. Like in Mark 16, it says they'll lay their hands on the sick and they'll be healed. So it doesn't, in that verse, doesn't say anything about praying for them. It just says touch them, put your hand on them. So we started kind of doing this, and we've seen some really fun things happen by just asking people, "Hey, would you like to see a party trick?" And not telling them that we're Christians or what we're doing, and they've shown us all sorts of injuries that have been just instantly healed. And then they go, what are you doing? Then we just tell them we're Christians, and it's an opportunity to share the gospel with them. So we're walking into Westfield shopping mall, and there was a Chinese man who was just highlighted to me for some reason. I just thought, wow, we should definitely talk to this guy. So I started trying to ask him if he'd like to see a party trick, and he didn't really speak much English at all. So he got his little translator and he types in party trick, and it translates party trick, and he's like, "Oh, okay. And it's like, we're trying to kind of communicate, we're doing alright. I said, "Oh, to show you need to have some type of injury or pain or something like that." And he's like, "Oh yeah," and he whips up his jeans leg because he had a problem with his calf muscle, and we touched it and took my hand off just for a couple of seconds, and I was like, "How's that?" And he's like, "Oh, it's good." And he got healed, and he was a Christian as well, so he was really happy, and it was quite encouraging. we went downstairs into the mall and we were looking for our treasure. Not a lot was happening, but sometimes that happens on a treasure hunt or evangelism. Sometimes you kind of just feel like you're standing around. You're like, it doesn't feel like anything's happening right now, but you just keep kind of pressing in, keep looking for your treasure, or something's going to happen sooner or later. And after the lady'd been healed from the shoulder, just before we saw the Chinese man, she's like, oh, that's good, like I've got heaps of things that need to be healed up on my body. And then we saw the Chinese man, so I didn't really get to carry on with the conversation. So things were getting a bit quiet downstairs. I was like, oh, well, what else did you need healed up? And to the lady, she was on the team, she's like, oh, I was born deaf in my right ear. I was like, oh, okay. So I prayed for her for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and I asked her, how's that? And so we kind of needed to do some tests on her to see if she could hear anything. And so we started whispering in her ear, which she's never heard. She's never heard anything in her right ear her whole life. She's 38 years old. We started to whisper in her right ear, and she could hear everything we were saying. She was 100% completely, totally healed from deafness in her right ear. And as soon as she caught up with the fact that she'd been healed and realised what had actually happened, she started weeping, and she's like, it was a bit of a scene in the food court, because she just realised, she's been healed from deafness. She's been deaf in her right ear her whole life, and she's just absolutely 100% healed her right there after about a 3-second prayer. And she's just like, whoa, freaking out. And the food court girls are thinking, what's going on over there? Because this lady's crying and she's happy and she's kind of shaking. And so we ended up talking to the food court girls. One of the ladies getting the tray, she just thought we were nuts. But there's 2 other girls there that were thought maybe they're not completely crazy, and they're actually talking to us. And one of them had a knee problem. We prayed for that, and she got healed. And one of them, we prayed for her to experience, the presence of God right there. It's always a good idea to pray for people to experience the presence of God. And God has kind of really came on her, and she's pretty much at the point of weeping, and He just really touching her heart. And so that was good. We shared with them for a while, and then we felt, okay, now it's time to carry on. We went, and one of the girls who wasn't even saved, she had grey carpet, black clothes on her treasure list. And we walked past a telecom shop, grey carpet, and all the people there in black uniforms. So that, to start with, was really encouraging for this girl. Like, she's not even saved, and God's speaking to her really accurate words of knowledge, which was encouraging if you are saved. God totally wants to give you words of knowledge, really accurate ones that absolutely blow your mind. He's just absolutely about using every single person, even if you think you could never get a word of knowledge. That was me. Not even 2 years ago, I didn't think that I could get a word of knowledge, and hundreds of words of knowledge later, I think I was quite wrong.